Hey everybody, good afternoon. This is Neil, Simple Futures at Simple Trading. It is Thursday, the 9th of November, and what you see on screen here is price action from today for the E-mini S&P futures contract. It made a high at about 13 up here, but this is pre-market. See, this is before the bell, and what happens in the darker shaded area here is after the cash bell. So this is interesting. You get the open is the high, and it flushes immediately on the bell and then has immediate follow through. That's what's called an open drive as an opening type, versus what happens most of the time. This is somewhat infrequent. I forget the exact historical stat on it, but it's somewhat infrequent. I'd put it from memory, I'd put it in about the 15-16% camp, something like that, of percent of time that opening type shows up. Most of the time what you get though is a trade that trades a little higher and a little lower than the open, trading around that opening price in the form of like an auction, a little higher, a little lower. That's the market on opens making their way in, producing a what we call an opening swing, high and low, on an open auction, open type. That is normal, and that's why we get price action on average the way we do, on average, right? Normal. When this type shows up, this has some, generally speaking, it has some significance and some meaning, and specifically there's follow through is what's said to be, kind of thought. In other words, like, you don't want to fade that. When you see that open type, that's your preferred direction. Figure out a way to get in, but that's your open, that's your direction. And what we try to do in the trade room is, whenever we see an open like this, what we try to do is get any retracement. So in this case, you see the open drive had, what was it, like 09 by 01 or something there for 8 points wide. It has a little follow through. It comes right back into the middle. See, the uptick on this is the middle of that open range that we just talked about, 9 by 1. And there's a chance, right? That's certainly a chance to get in, and you're looking for follow through. And after there was a pretty decent size flush into a very prominent, notable HVN at 85, there was a one retracement back into the same area. That's the middle of the open range, and then of course here's Powell, and boom, flush. There are some other things that happened in here around the 12:30 to 1 o'clock that are of significance as well. And anybody that's in the trade room knows about that. The 12:30 to 1 o'clock sort of price action and the significance of it. And it certainly forecast further and additional bearish price action as likely as well. And that certainly did happen. I mean, certainly it continued. And what it ended up doing at the end of the day was coming all the way down here to test the low that starts the gap. 58 starts a gap all the way down to 32. So you get 58, then about 45 I think is the gap mid, and then all the way down to 32 as gap fill. That is my opinion. As I said last night, it's my opinion that's coming. What else is significant about today's price action is the fact that not only did it go break a pretty good ways, right? I mean, 75 some odd points, something like that. Or no, 50. Well, it's a good distance. I mean, clearly, right? You can see it's a good distance. 55 or something, whatever it is, points. In addition to that, when it goes out down here on the lows at the end, and it carried balance point of control out with it down here at the end. This all speaks to anticipated follow through to the downside. So now my job becomes, okay, well then, if that's the case, then what's your overhead that you would not want to see breached in order to keep with that view? And I think that number is 80. 78, 80. It's 80, I guess, whatever, right there. It's right in there that, I mean, for all I know, 75 could keep it down, right? 75 is last week's point of control. $80 though was like Monday's close, and it was a big focal point during Monday's trade, and it happens to be the 382 retrace of the move from the high of the move happened in the high tick of the move, all the way from 41 quarter all the way up to 44 quarter up there. The high of the move happened very recently, as in like last night, early this morning, however you want to look at it. It was before the cash session today. But I'm saying, the high of the move just happened. So this is not really bearish, but it depends on your time frame. It is bearish. It is actually bearish. It's bearish on in looking into tomorrow, But now, if you want to go, okay, so basically this is the beginning of a retracement that is still bullish on that daily chart, though, right? Yes, it is. So what we talked about last night was, look, the longs are a little kind of, it hadn't broken yet, but we're seeing the signs, and the high was on a Wednesday, and don't you think, it certainly could correct, and if it does, then it's headed back to that 43.30 area at a minimum to sync up with that non-farm payroll, price and gap on the daily chart. That's what it looks like. That's what it's doing. That's what I think it looks like it's doing. It broke today on a Thursday after a Wednesday high, and it certainly it does look like a 382 retrace would put it right with this, the flush, the initial part of this flush. It's about 80, call it 43.80 as overhead for tomorrow, and your targets are 45 and 32. Maybe even 30, I don't know, but 45 and 32. The reason for those targets is that gets us into the gap, that gets us on the gap mid and gap fill from, I guess it was Friday into Monday of last week or whatever. So, but that's it. That's what I got. And somebody pointed out in the comments section too that this would be the chance for the PitBull low as well, and I had overlooked that. I had not thought to mention that, so thank you for the heads up on that. Appears to be correct. Certainly, that would provide an opportunity for some additional pullback, tomorrow and maybe even early next week. For then afterwards, bullish for a beginning of a markup into this holiday season and on into the end of the year is what I'm thinking anyway right now. But we'll take it one step at a time, right? We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but that's what I got. So hopefully this has been helpful, and appreciate the assist in the comments section, especially like I said with the non-farm payroll reminder, the PitBull that is reminder, and let me know of any thoughts and how we're doing. If you got some ideas or something else you want to look at, let me know. But otherwise, I'll look forward to being with you at the next update. Good night.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency.
It's one of the things that won me